It's time for season preview for Carlow women's tennis here on the Carlow Sports Network. Sean Meyers joined by Gina Lovaglio, the head coach. And first off, Coach, how's everything going with you?
It's going great. Thank you.
Glad to hear that. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement this time of year looking ahead at this upcoming season. But first, let's rewind and look back to last year. Team went 2-9 overall. How did you evaluate the performance?
I thought we did pretty well, actually, going into this conference for the first time officially and having a full season. We learned a lot, and we're going to bring that into this season.
So you're now a member of the AMCC. You were as well last year. What did you kind of have for takeaways competing in this new conference?
Our girls loved it. The team had great competition, and the travel was much less, which was a nice thing for the team. So
Certainly that has been a
yes.
recurring theme amongst all the coaches we've talked to. What has been the biggest area of focus throughout the off season for how the team can take that next step?
For the next season,
Yes.
so over summer break for our team.
Yep.
They did a lot of endurance, so a lot of our team actually picked up running. So they're adding miles to how much they're running, and they're just sustaining themselves through the gym and keeping busy. So a lot of them work full time over the summer, so they're trying to balance that work and staying in shape with their body. So
You have a lot back. We'll get to the returners momentarily, but I want to talk about Carissa Miller because she did move on from last year's team. I know she was a big part of it. So what are you going to remember most about her?
she was a fantastic team leader. Incredible one singles and one doubles. She was the glue that kind of like held our team together with time management and just always stayed focused. She was always early and she was always the last one that left off the court for practice. So I just spoke with her, so we're already missing her.
Big shoes to fill, but that also means big opportunities for the players who are back. So who are the returners that you're really going to count upon?
Julia Piatt, she's as it stands, she'll be taking that first singles spot for us. So we're excited to see her come back. And then we have Jensen and Josie and Caitlin, and then our other freshmen as well that are going to be sophomores this year. So we have a pretty good returning team.
And you also bring in some new contributors as well. So what are the expectations with that group?
Exciting. They all seem like they've been well-rounded in tennis, and they're looking forward to being part of the team. So we're excited.
And perhaps the greatest benefit is you have a pretty sizable roster at this point.
Yeah, 12 girls, so we're excited.
I know, obviously, tennis talent is a major aspect when you're looking to recruit a player. They have to be able to get it done on the court. But what else do you look at from a prospective player?
Definitely their interests outside of being an athlete. I want them to be interested to come to Carlow for academics. I don't want them to choose Carlow just because they want to play tennis. I want to know that they want to come here for nursing or for fusion or education, whatever it might be. So I think that's really important.
There's been a little bit of a change in recent years for the tennis program where you play now the fall and into the spring. So what challenges does that present?
Um, Challenges would be that the girls are not on like a scheduled routine and they're kind of like flying by the seat of their pants coming in here in August, trying to get into that routine. And in the spring, when we had our full match schedule, they were coming out of just a small winter break. So getting them back into that schedule.
I'm sure there's some familiarity now with the other teams in the AMCC. So how do you kind of evaluate the landscape this year in the conference?
A lot of the teams lost their top seniors that were their one spots or their two spots. So we're looking forward to more competition and some more wins.
What do you have in mind for team goals?
Team goals is to have some great leadership from our captains on the team, and to just win some more matches and try to get our 5 new incoming athletes just to be part of our camaraderie for our team.
You've been at Carlo for a while now, either as a head coach or prior to that, an assistant, more than a decade. So obviously there's something you really like about being here. What is that?
I think it's honestly part of my identity. Like I graduated from Carlo. My daughters are enrolling in preschool here at Carlo's campus. It's just part of who I am, and the team becomes part of my family.
Always a pleasure to talk to you before the season. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That is tennis head coach Gina Lovaglio here on the season preview. We continue the season preview for Carlow women's tennis. I'm Sean Meyers, joined by a senior, Caitlin McCarthy. First stop before we get into the hard-hitting questions. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing terrific, and I'm glad to be talking to you. And Want to talk about this upcoming season, but before we get into that, let's look back at last year. So how did you evaluate your performance a year ago?
So last year, I mean, it was an interesting season. It was our first time switching to the fall. So my evaluation comes from how I feel about how I did. The scores can only show so much. So at the end of each match, if I felt good about what I did, and even if the score didn't reflect that, as long as I gave it my all and I felt that I did as much as I could, that's how I evaluated.
So you're going for good vibes then. Is that
Kind of. It's like maximum effort and hopefully maximum results, but what I can get is what I can get.
what do you think your greatest strength is as a player?
I think my greatest strength personally is the fact that I don't give up, and it's no matter how the match is going, it's 110%, but also I love supporting this team and cheering on everyone whenever I'm done.
So when you think of your training regimen, how does it differ during the off season as opposed to when you are in season?
So in season, I have to do a lot of recovery down at the athletics office, but in season, I'm constantly working either with the coaches when we have those mandatory practices or outside practice. I just get as much court time as possible. And then when it's off season, I'm still working on the court time, but I'm trying to focus on more changing the things that need to be fixed with my stuff rather than working on the same thing over and over again.
Who do you think might be a breakout performer this year for the Celtics?
So the whole team is wonderful, and I can't say much on the new freshmen because I haven't met them yet, but I can say Jensen's going to be great, Josie's going to be great, all of the team, I think we're all going to have breakthrough seasons.
When you think of the goals that you have in mind, what do you have individually and then for the team as a whole?
Individually, I would love to try and get as many wins as possible. Yet again, wins aren't what fully matters to me because I would love to win, but it doesn't make or break my life. But as the team, I just want us to get close and continue to support each other and be a great team together.
What do you like most about the coaching staff here at Carlow?
I love how kind and compassionate and caring our coaches are because they aren't kill, fight, win tennis. They care more about us as humans and people and our mental health over winning any game.
Lastly, aside from tennis, what's your favorite aspect of being here at Carlow?
Oh my goodness, I love this school. Not only do I get a wonderful education being a nursing major, there's so many clubs and I'm a part of the sorority. There's so many opportunities here just to make it a wonderful time.
Well, hopefully you have a wonderful season. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you.
That is Caitlin McCarthy, a senior for the Celtics here on the season preview. We continue here on the season preview looking at Carlow women's tennis. I'm Sean Meyers, joined by Julia Piatt for the Celtics. First off, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and I'm sure you're excited to get this season underway. But I want to talk about last year first. So how do you think you played a year ago?
Um, Definitely last year, it was a big jump from my freshman to my sophomore year. I gained more confidence, my technique got better, and I was able to score a few more points than I did my freshman year.
So I know you said you've already made some strides from one year to the next. To take that next step and get even better, what did you focus on this offseason?
Definitely focused on my technique so my play can become better. I definitely struggle with kind of just like hitting the ball instead of like really taking into consideration like the right technique. So definitely did that.
I know there's some big adjustments that come from playing singles and doubles, and pretty much everyone at some point or another has done both. So, what are those adjustments? How do you go back and forth?
Definitely the stamina, because singles you have to cover a lot more court. Doubles you also have another person that you can rely on a lot. I definitely like the team aspect of doubles, but then singles you're kind of just by yourself, so you really have to dig deep when you get down a little bit to bring yourself up.
What do you have in mind for goals this year for yourself and collectively for the team?
The goals for myself is obviously win a few more matches. But also, like I said, technique is really a big aspect in this year's play for me. And I really hope to be able to score more points and even last longer than my opponents can.
As you're now a junior, you can look back at your first couple of years here. What comes to mind for your favorite moment during your career, Carlo?
Um, hmm, that's a hard one. I think my favorite moment would definitely be playing doubles with Caitlin. We both kind of came from the same background. We were big softball players, so we could relate on that. And we just had a lot of fun playing together. So it's definitely one of my favorites.
What do you enjoy most about the sport of tennis?
I enjoy that it's a team sport as well as individual, since like you play singles too. And as a team, everyone is super sweet and we all kind of just come together and you always have somebody to lean on.
Well, at least compared to some of your teammates, you're probably much newer to this sport. So, how did you first get into it?
Oh boy. So I joined my freshman year of high school with my sister. She was a senior at the time, and we kind of just joined as a joke at first because KO wasn't really known for tennis very well. But I ended up falling in love with the sport, and now here I am playing college tennis.
It seems like it was a good decision in
Yes,
retrospect.
I definitely
Last,
love it.
lastly, what do you think will be the best part of this year's team? What do you enjoy most about this year's version of the Celtics?
Um, all of the new incoming girls as well as the returners are super sweet and everyone already seems to have a good connection to one another. And I'm excited to get to know everyone a little bit better this year.
Well, hopefully, it's a very exciting season
Yeah.
as well. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's Julia Piatt, a junior for the Celtics here on the season preview.